Hi, everyone. My name is Sage. I am from KEEZ, and today we're interviewing one of the founders of GroupFi, Ximeng. Ximeng, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Hi, thanks. Nice to meet you here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming. Really excited to hear more about GroupFi today. Ximeng, what is GroupFi? If you could give us a little bit of an elevator pitch or a quick synopsis.
Yeah, sure. So GroupFi actually is a protocol plus a Java plugin. So if we start with the protocol part, what we are trying to build is a really Web3 messaging protocol, where builders can use the protocol to build any types of Web3 communication related tools. So eventually, for the protocol, we really utilize the DLT technology. So actually, every message will be running on chain, and at the same time, it will be fearless. And also, the protocol itself is compatible with Ethereum and other EVM compatible chains, so making it really adapted for wider adoption. And then for the chatbot plugin, is actually a ready-to-use product that we have built as an example on top of the protocol. So we're actually promoting the two parts of product, if you like to call it, all together.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And what makes you guys so passionate about this product? I know it's something I've never seen before. You always see chatbots when you go on to little platforms, but it's a lot different than chatting with an AI or chatting with someone from customer service. Now I get to chat with the people that are on this same platform using the same experience as me. What made you guys think of that?
Yeah, actually, we've always been interested in Web3 social. We have started to observe the market really from 2 years ago. And in the meantime, we have built a little bit other products within the Web3 space. What we have observed is actually the Web3 community is gradually taking off. But actually, so far, there is no really adapted tools for the whole Web3 community. And we think in the future, actually, everything should be running on chain, so Web3 social as well. And today we may find different products. They propose different approaches, but for us, that's not really the true Web3 social. So we started to think like what we can do to create the product that can really unleash the whole power of the so-called interoperability of Web3, and something that is also very easy to use. So you may see like two approaches today, like among the Web3 social products. So first, either people have protocols. So you have a few examples. And the problem with this type of product is actually it's very difficult for builders to reuse it directly because they typically have to build something using their own resources, time, money, to have a ready to use end product. The other approach is that people promote directly another DApp. So whether it's a your phone or so the problem with this is that in this way that you still limiting users in the isolated ecosystem. So you have A or B. So for us, we don't think we need another DApp. We really want to create something that can connect every ecosystem, every community. So that's our approach eventually. And that's what make us really excited about it because we think that this approach is quite unique. And we think that's the way that it would work.
Yeah, I love it. I love how you guys are approaching, the interoperability as well as, bringing things on chain and bringing social, like a digital social, to the areas that we think it should trend towards. And just like you're saying, it's hard for these apps to be able to build this in house, right? So you guys focusing on those staples to form a great structure and then offering it as a quick kind of plug in, making it easier on the apps. I think, yeah, it's a great strategy, and I love to hear it. Now, is it easy to integrate?
Yeah, it's super easy, I think. So also thanks for the work that we did together with LUKSO and also in like project like Stakenverse. So we have from day one improved the really integration experience. So for builders, it's super easy just to integrate the chat box. So what they typically need to do is just load the chat box and then and they enter the wallet, the passive wallet information, configure the groups, and everything can be done through our SDK. So we have also provided different examples for common front end and wallet frameworks, so you can find everything on the linked in GitHub. So if like the builders get familiar with the setup, the integration can be done in within 10 minutes.
Oh, great. A nice quick integration, make it easy on those builders. That's fantastic. Now, why potentially should an app look to integrate you guys? What would make it so an app would want to have you guys on their platform?
So the basic experience we want to have is really the immersive experience. We think that the request for social is always there as human beings. So today, what we have observed is that a lot of like that, no matter is DeFi or marketplace, whatever you have it, like people come to the platform and then there are different like problem there. So first, they may face like onboarding issues because not every DeFi product is that easy to use. And people are typically brought from that environment to third-party tools like Discord or Telegram, and then for onboarding. So actually, you are taken away from that scenario to learn how to use it, which for us is not natural at all.
Mhm.
So this would be the number one reason that projects would want to have in-depth chat. Later on, we can talk about what we have in the roadmap. But for example, we can introduce the utility of the utilization of AI. So when we have AI in the chat, and then they would help users to onboarding very quickly within the product itself. And then another reason is immersive experience between the users. So when they are, for example, imagine that they are on the DeFi platform, and then people talk about long about token prices. They talk about transactions, but it may happen today, like in Telegram, Discord. It's not happening in where it should be happening. So, and then that's another reason that why social eventually it will be a huge boost for the token and NFT transactions. So for these reasons, we really think, especially specific types of Web3 projects would be really interested in having this like social feature on the DApp.
Yeah. You said two things that I really enjoy. One of them is the fact that, we're inherently social, right? We're social beings.
Well, yeah.
And this is like one of my gripes with, maybe not a gripe, but the idea of digital social. Everything is going to be social, right? DeFi
Well,
applications to messaging apps to NFT marketplaces, like all of it is inherently social. We want to talk to the people that are engaging with it and have these conversations, and being able to enable that through GroupFi directly on the platform also solves the other thing that I thought was interesting that you brought up of we don't want to make people leave the apps, right? Getting them to exit and go
well,
somewhere else and chat about it starts fragmenting things. Right now, people have to go find a
yeah,
Telegram,
exactly.
find a Discord, but if they can just have these conversations directly in the app, right where the product is, I think that's a big help for sure. Now, you brought up earlier about interoperability, and I'm really curious what GroupFi looks like, maybe cross DApp. Like, is there any inter DApp
Well,
chatting, or is there any kind of interoperability between DApps, or is it mainly within the one app that has the GroupFi bot you're chatting in at the time?
yeah, it actually can be cross that because every chat, for now, like we started with like group chats. So the chat, they are really built around groups and all groups, well, of course, they are token and integrated groups and all the groups, they are registered on chain.
Gotcha.
So this means that any DApp could like take this group configuration and then like choose to enable it on their platform. So imagine, for example, you're on DEX, and then let's just take ETH as an example, and then you have enabled this chat group on your on the DeFi platform, and then you can chat directly in the group with your friend who is currently, for example, using a token information platform, as long as two dApps have integrated chat box and have enabled the ETH chat group. So it can really connect different platforms and across all layers today.
Okay, cool. So you could very much have like, say you have like swapping protocol, right? You have like Uniswap or something like that. You could very much have Uniswap chat also on like a lending protocol chat, right? Right. Lending
Yeah.
protocol, yeah, you could have those inter-chatting. Very cool. I like that a lot. Now, I think this bridges well into the LUKSO conversation. You guys are now active on the LUKSO blockchain. I know you're in the staking burst chats. and
Well,
was participating in those the other day, just checking out what you guys have to offer. And I'm curious what GroupFi has on LUKSO, or what LUKSO enables through GroupFi that maybe isn't potentially available on other chains.
yeah, so with Luxos, the first thing that we have, of course, noticed is that it's very like social focused. So we think that to start with is a very good environment to like sparkle different use cases that is perhaps a little bit difficult to observe on other chains. So that's the original reason why we chose like to really like kind of heavily invested on the code development with Luxo and the projects on it. And then actually it turns out that it works pretty well because by working with projects on Lexo, we have prioritized a few items that was supposed to be like farther away in the roadmap. For example, the idea of being able to add your customized logos, welcome messages, adding the buy link. So we did a pretty good task with staking words, for example. Right now they can add a direct purchase link in the chat to sell their, for example, membership card and so on.
Cool.
So that's a really cool stuff. And then we have also noted that there are some metaverse projects on Luxo. So it's a really very vibrant environment, and it also gives us a lot of inspirations. So right now, we think the interesting point is really to explore and together with the ecosystem project here, and then to build a little bit more like fun, social related features for GroupFi.
Yeah, I think you guys really do body well what the Luxo ethos is together. I think like that idea of making everything social is a big Luxo idea, right? Chatting and being inherently social wherever you go. But the interoperability that you offer with your apps of, all of this information is on chain. Therefore, any DApp that wanted to have another platform's chat on their platform could go and do so. It's the same thing with universal profiles. That's a big value prop. The fact that data is stored both on chain
Well,
and in the universal profile. So wherever I go with my up, my data comes with me and my on chain information comes with me.
yep.
That's the same thing with signing up for GroupFi, right? When you go and make an account, my universal profile that has all of my information already populated in it automatically builds the account for me when signing up for GroupFi. And now I don't even have to input that information for myself, right? That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Now, I noticed this might be something that we don't necessarily include in the actual edit or not, but I was curious. Like when I went to sign in with my universal profile, I saw that you guys also created me a GroupFi account. What
Yeah.
happens there? How is that related to my universal profile? Kind of how does that flow work?
Yeah, it's the GroupFi account is really works like the proxy. So actually, you are always like using your EVM account. So the registration process, it simply like generates a public private key pair for the GroupFi chat, and then it's encrypted with your EVM account. So whatever you do, like everything is directly linked with your EVM account. But that's that. Like from a technical point of view, it's just a step that we need to do, like to ensure that the chat is running, the message is running in the way that we want it to be, especially from the Furious point of view. So if you're curious, like, or anyone's curious, and then it's pretty well written in the technical white paper. So as I'm not very technical,
Yeah.
so I won't be able to dive into the very details of it. But for those who are curious in how it works, everything's written in that technical white paper, which can be downloaded from our website.
Yeah, definitely go check that out if you're interested. I think that was sufficient enough for me. I mean, you guys are creating an account that is connected directly to my universal profile. And again, because everything is on chain, all of that information is still available for me to leverage, um, which is, yeah, great. Now, really curious to dive into the conversation of like, how does this change the way that we potentially look at digital social, right? You guys are bringing the conversation users directly to the app instead of them getting to migrate somewhere else. This is something that we've already brought up in the chat. But how do you maybe think that your efforts at GroupFi can change the social landscape?
Um, so first, I think this is something we talk about, like in terms of the cross app cross-step communication. So today, as we saw that many communications, they are still happening like isolated in silos in different dApps or in different ecosystems. And that's how we kind of like, we didn't manage to have the full power of Web3, but with GroupFi, everything's possible. So we are really like connecting different ecosystem, different dApps to make it a huge network. So I think that's a very Web3 principle. And another point is probably more of my personal point of view is about your data that is linked to your Web3 identity. Because we know that in Web2, you are potentially identified by profession, education, and so on. But in Web3, it's more a question about how you define a Web3 person. So when your Web3 identity is really linked to to your assets, to on-chain activities, and thanks to the social tool, we can really have all this data, and at the same time, data is yours. You have the ownership of your own data. But what's really interesting is that through your social, through interactions, no matter with others, um, or with different protocols and so on, you have your own chain footprint, you have your activities, and that kind of shape who you are. And then we can do a lot of things with this Web3 data of yours. You can have personalized services, assistance, recommendations. So I think there's a lot of things that you imagine. And this is the one of the fundamental thing that we want to do is to use this social protocol, like to use the data behind and build something that is more responsible, better, or personalized for everyone, especially in the AI era. I think it's really important to have this.
Very cool. Yeah, that is something I always consider when people are talking about digital identity. Like the identity of
Well,
yourself is not just the address that you live at or the state that you live in or wherever, right? You are like physically maybe what is normally attributed to your identity. It is the music you listen to and the assets that you collect and the people you talk to and all of these other things. And when we're talking about on chain, that's a whole different set of data than maybe you're typically attributing to your identity. And now you're talking about data and the ability to share all this data and collect all this data and leverage it in a large network. Ultimately, you guys are just playing into that in like, we want to open up as much chat as possible. We want as many social connections as possible. And again, because all this information is on chain, stored in profiles like universal profiles, they can then be leveraged further than that, right? So apps that come down the road and see this social network that you guys have created can then tap into all those connections and create a whole bunch of experiences on top of it too,
sure.
right? That is, yeah, on the topic of changing the landscape. That's something that we have maybe never seen before. Now, just to bridge the conversation towards continuing to talk about the future, what is coming down the road for you guys? What can we look forward to moving forward?
Yeah, they're actually the project's in the early stage, so we have a lot of ideas, and then the question is how we can get there. So from the short term, what we're really focusing on is the chat box plugin itself to add a little bit more functionalities, especially transactions in chats, the introduction of AI, just a very light version maybe, start to see and observe what's possible, what people like. So, like the short-term possibilities and try it out, play it with other projects and so on. So that's really the short-term thing. And but on the medium and long term, what we really want to do first um, is more on the protocol side. So first, we need adoption for the chat box, and once we have that, we'll have a lot more scenarios, use cases, data, and so on, and then we will be able to open more possibilities of the protocol itself. So not only just us, so we hopefully with the protocol, it can enable different builders come and build with the protocol itself, because like people have genius ideas sometimes that when we create something and then just people use it, it's kind of like Lego or not. It's people just use your initial idea, but they can create something more fantastic. So that's what we really want to see. It's on the protocol layer. We'll be having like different SDKs and so on, so people can really use the protocol and use their imagination to create uh like better bigger things for us. So that's also something that we want to see. But then, and then the last part is really the data. We want to like GroupFi protocol as middleware is more like a data middleware. So eventually through the protocol and the adoption of chatbots, when we have the data, especially on-chain data, and we can do obviously much more with all of that.
Yeah, again, I've said it a bunch during this chat, but I love the approach that you guys are taking in being open source and emphasizing, essentially, you're emphasizing the community and saying, hey, you guys have a whole lot of ideas that we can potentially, maybe we think of them, but groupthink is
Yeah.
important, and the power of all these minds is important. So getting all of these people potentially able to leverage and continue building and continue pushing it forward, it's great. I love that. Short term, I mean, obviously, everyone in the LUKSO community, if you have a DApp, reach out to GroupFi. Get this chatbot in your platform so people can start chatting. If you are a user, head over to the Stakingverse. Are you guys live on any other apps on LUKSO right now aside from Stakingverse? Or
Well, now not yet. We're speaking with them,
okay,
but we know that builders have a lot of priorities as well.
yeah,
So apart from LuckPro, we're also working with some other different like dApps, different chains, and so on. And I know that I will be in Bangkok next month, so hopefully I will meet a little more some more builders, and then perhaps we can have a nice conversation because. Already for LUKSO, I think it would be great if, because you have the universal profile, which is quite unique to LUKSO, I think it's a great way to really build interconnected dApps within LUKSO. So that's really the use case that we want to push within LUKSO. So hopefully we'll get more people on board very soon. And then we'll see how powerful that can be, like chatting from different dApps, but still like using the whole, the one system, like the universal profile.
Yep, we will only see how powerful that is once people start participating in it. So again, if you're a DApp on LUKSO, make sure to reach out to these guys and get their chat app in your platform. If you're a user, go ahead and start chatting. You can get on the Stakingverse these days. Go chat me up. Go chat up Ximeng. Now, I know you mentioned that you're going to be in Bangkok. How else can people maybe connect with you or stay updated with GroupFi in the coming days or coming months?
You can always find us on X, Twitter. And then if you want to get direct contact with me, we have put everyone's contact information on our website. And there's a section called contacting. So we're basically exposing our personal information on the website. But which is cool. I like talking with people.
Yeah.
So if you have any ideas around GroupFi, you want to work together, you want to learn a bit more, or you just want to make some friends, and like feel free to reach out.
Absolutely, and we'll get all that stuff linked up in the show notes here, so you guys can follow up with these guys. Great to talk to you again, Ximeng. I will also be in Bangkok, so I'm sure we'll be able to
Cool.
and chat again there. Anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap this up that we haven't talked about?
No, I don't think so. I think it's cool. So thanks very much for the interview. So it's really nice, and it's nice to have the opportunity to talk a little bit about our visions and so on. We have a lot of ideas in our head, and sometimes it's good to get it out and then talk with other people, and together we'll see what will happen. But I think only good things. So
Only good things. That is the hope. Absolutely. Thanks again for coming, Ximeng from GroupFi. And again, everyone, make sure to go check out their in the app chatbots. Okay, cool.
thank you very much.
We're